Hello students. So in the last class we were discussing regarding some of the basic definitions in the animal kingdom. So in that we have discussed regarding the body symmetry. So in the body symmetry there are mainly two types. One is radial symmetry and another one is bilateral symmetry. So this radial and bilateral symmetry, they are mainly classified on the mode of arrangement of the body parts around the central axis, or is it on the along the central axis. So that is about the body symmetry. Next we have discussed with the after that body symmetry we have discussed with the different germ layers of the body, that is triploblastic and diploblastic. So the diploblastic are the organisms which are arised from the two germ layers, that is outer ectoderm and inner endoderm, whereas the triploblastic are the organism which has arised from three germ layers. So the three germ layers are outer ectoderm, inner endoderm, in between the ecto and endoderm there will be a mesoderm. So next we were discussing regarding the next very important is coelom. Coelom, it is pronounced as coelom. So what is a coelom? Coelom is nothing but body cavity. What it is? It is a body cavity. So this body cavity, it is present in the body wall and gut. So what is this body cavity? Cavity is nothing but space. So where the space actually exists antandre, it exists in between body wall and gut. So what is this gut? Wherever you come across with the word gut, it refers to stomach, or you can also say it as digestive tract. So it exists between the body wall and the gut. So in the body wall we have discussed with the germ layers. What are the germ layers in the body wall? There are three germ layers. The outer layer is called as ectoderm, and middle layer is called as mesoderm, and the inner layer is called as endoderm. So these are the three germ layers in the body wall. From these three germ layers the organism will be arised. So now the body wall and gut. Now let us consider this as a gut. Understood? So in between these two there is a fluid filled body cavity. That fluid filled body cavity itself is called as coelom. So what is coelom? It is a fluid filled body cavity. So this fluid filled body cavity, there are different types of coelom which we will see in different phylums. The word coelom, that usually it starts from the phylum Platyhelminthes. So the coelom, it is of three types. It is of three types, the coelom. One is acoelom, pseudocoelom, and eucoelom. Acoelom, pseudocoelom and eucoelom are the three types of coelom seen in different phylums. So the acoelom is a condition. The word a always refers to absent. So here the body cavity is absent. The body cavity is absent. So the best example for acoelomate condition is Platyhelminthes phylum. The Platyhelminthes phylum, the organism that does not possess any fluid filled body cavity. Why? Means the organisms which comes under the phylum Platyhelminthes, they are completely flat organism. Flat. worms. So hence the word platy, that word platy itself, it refers to flat anta. Helminthus, that word refers to worms. So the study of worms itself, that branch of science is called as helminthology. So that we'll discuss while discussing with the phylums. So the word coelom, it starts with the phylum Platyhelminthes. Before the Platyhelminthes, the Coelenterate, Ctenophora, Porifera, they does not possess the coelom, or the coelom, it does not exist in that lower forms of a phylum. So it starts with the phylum Platyhelminthes. Till Chordata, we can completely see the coelom condition. Next, pseudocoelom. So what is a pseudocoelom antandre? The coelom, or this word pseudo, wherever you come across with the word, see here the P is silent, it is pronounced as pseudo. Understood? So this pseudocoelom, the word pseudo, wherever you come across, it refers to false. It is called as false. So hence the pseudocoelom condition, it is seen in the phylum Aschelminthus. Very important for 1 marks. Name the phylum which exhibits pseudocoelom condition. The pseudocoelom condition is exhibited in only one phylum, that is Aschelminthus. As well as the acoelomate, it is seen in one phylum, that is Platyhelminthes. So Aschelminthus are the organisms, they are completely called as roundworms. So what is this now pseudocoelom? Means, now as I have said, the 3 germ layers, whenever you are studying with the coelom, it exists only in triploblastic condition. That is, there must be a 3 germ layers: outer, ectoderm, see, if I have written empty space, it does not say that here there is no anything, it is empty. No, it is not empty, but it is entirely made up of number of cells. Understood? We have to fill the cells, but just I have not written the cells. But remember, here it is completely, the cells are completely compactly packed in this ectoderm. Next comes the middle, mesoderm, and the inner is called as endoderm. So now we'll discuss with the pseudocoelom. So how the coelom, where it is present in this 3 germ layers means, so here in case of pseudocoelom, the mesoderm, whatever the mesoderm layer is there, it will be scattered, it will be not continuous, it will be scattered. How it will be scattered? Now this is the mesoderm. Then what is this space? This is a coelom. What type of coelom? It is a pseudocoelom. So hence there is no continuous mesodermal lining, but the mesoderm, it is scattered in the form of pouches. So the mesoderm, it is scattered, it is in the form of scattered pouches. Pouches tara scatter agiratte. Yelli? In the pseudocoelom. So this is a pseudocoelom. Understood? This is not mesoderm. This is a pseudocoelom. Whereas this, they are the mesodermal pouches. So the mesoderm, it is not continuous. It is scattered in the form of pouches, where in the pseudocoelom or in the body cavity. Hence that type of coelom is called as pseudocoelom. Now we'll discuss with the eucoelom condition. So what happens in eucoelom condition? So same, the outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm, and inner endoderm. So this is endoderm, this is mesoderm, and this is outer ectoderm. So now I am discussing with the which one? Eucoelom. The word eu, always it refers to true anta. T-R-U-E, true. Eucoelom is nothing but true coelom. Where this true coelom is present? It is present in the mesodermal lining means, now whatever I am writing, this is a body cavity. Which type of body cavity? Eucoelomate or true coelom. So this is eucoelom, or you can say true coelom, which is present on the either side of the coelom. It is lined by which lining? Mesodermal lining. That type of a coelom is called as eucoelom. What is eucoelom means? If the body cavity on the either side, if it is lined by mesodermal lining, so that type of coelom is called as what? True coelom. So see, in eucoelom on the either side I have written mesoderm, whereas here the pseudocoelom, this is a cavity. See, on one side it is lined by ectoderm, on the other side it is lined by endoderm. So the mesoderm, it is scattered in between. Don't say that the mesoderm is absent. It is present, but it is not continuous. It is scattered in the pseudocoelom. But the coelom, it is on one side it is lined by ectoderm, on the other side it is lined by endoderm. So mesoderm is not continuous, it is scattered. Whereas in case of eucoelom, the eucoelom condition, on the either side of the coelom it is lined by a mesodermal lining. So the eucoelom condition, it starts from annelida till chordata. Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, as well as chordata. In the chordata, vertebrata. In vertebrata there are again 5 classes, main classes, that is Pisces. Then comes the amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammalia. All till that they are all eucoelomate. So from annelida till the mammalia class, you can use this word common. So all the organisms from the annelida till the chordata, if you write any of the phylum or class, you can use this one sentence. For this is one of the characteristic features, they are eucoelomate. And for Aschelinthes, while writing the characteristic feature of Aschelinthes, you can write the word, the organisms here they are pseudocoelomate. Whereas in case of Platyhelminthes, you have to note down that the organism here they are acoelomate. A means refers to absent. So the word coelom, it is a fluid filled body cavity. So if the fluid filled body cavity on the either side, if it is lined by mesodermal lining, then it is called as eucoelom, or it is called as true coelom. If the coelom contains the scattered pouches of the mesoderm, then it is called as pseudocoelom. If the coelom itself is absent, then that is called as acoelom. So that is about the coelom. So we have discussed regarding the coelom. Next, the another one important point is metamerism or segmentation. What is this word? Metamerism. So what is this metamerism means? So metamerism, or you can also say it as segmentation, common word. So the segmentation, metamerism, it is initiated in the phylum Platyhelminthes with a few species of Platyhelminthes, that is mainly tapeworm. The body is divided into number of segments, but truly speaking, the segmentation, it is seen in Annelida and Arthropoda phylums. So let us consider the one organism body. If this organism body, it is divided into several segments, then this type or this phenomena itself is called as metamerism. So metamerism is a phenomena where the organism body as well as its some of the organs, it is divided into number of compartments, or it is divided into number of segments. Just in a simple way, try to remember, metamerism is a phenomena where the organism body externally and internally, it is divided into number of segment. Understood? External and internal both, it is divided into number of units, or it is divided into number of segments. Each segment itself is called as metamers. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸೆಗ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೂ ನಾವು ಏನಂತೀವಿ, ಮೆಟಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಮೆಟಾಮೆರಿಸಮ್ ಫಿನಾಮಿನಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್, so in the previous class we have discussed with the digestive system. Now let us discuss with the circulatory system. So the circulatory system, you take any of the organism which has a circulatory system, it mainly consists of two important components. One is blood and the another one is heart. So the blood and heart are the two major organs or the system which we seen in the circulatory of a particular organism. So the circulatory system, it mainly consists of two important components. One is blood and the another one is heart. Now based on the circulation mode of the blood, the circulatory system, it is categorized into two categories. One is open and the another one is closed. Closed type of circulatory system, open type of circulatory system. So what is this closed? First we'll understand what is closed. So now the blood is a fluid connective tissue. Now this fluid connective tissue blood, if it flows inside the blood vessels, if it flows inside the blood vessels, then it is called as closed. See, now let us consider this as a blood vessels. So the blood vessels, they are the pipeline like structures. So the blood vessels, again it is categorized into three main categories, that is arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries, veins and capillaries are the main three blood vessels. So if the blood flows inside this blood vessel, then it is called as closed. Whereas if the blood flows in the body space, or you can also use the word sinuses, or you can say the organs are bathed in the blood, andre there is no blood vessels. So body alli ella spaces allu blood will be flowing due to the lack of the blood vessels. So in open type, the blood vessels are absent. So hence the the blood flows in body spaces, or you can also use the word sinuses. That type is called as open type, where in simple, if you want to understand, in this closed, blood vessels are present, whereas in open type the blood vessels are absent. So the blood vessels, what are these vessels? They are the pipeline like structure which mainly connects the blood from, or which mainly collects the blood from one place to another place. So there are arteries, veins and microscopic capillaries. So that is about the open and closed type of a circulatory system. So what is open and closed type? Based on the presence and the absence of blood vessels, it is divided. The present, if the blood vessels are present and the blood is flowing inside the blood vessels, it is closed. If the blood vessels are absent, due to the absence of blood vessels, automatically the blood, it flows in the body spaces or in the sinuses. Then it is called as open type. Next, we'll take up with another one concept called as fertilization. So before going to the types of fertilization that has been seen in the different phylum. So let us study what is fertilization. The fertilization, it is the fusion of gametes. The fusion of gametes itself is called as fertilization. What are gametes? Gametes are nothing but egg and sperm, because we are discussing with the animal kingdom here, not with the plant. So egg and sperm are the gametes. They are unicellular, means it is made up of single cell. The fusion of this egg and sperm or gametes itself is called as fertilization. So now the fertilization, it is of two types in animal kingdom: internal fertilization and external fertilization. Internal fertilization and external fertilization. So what is this internal and external fertilization? So internal fertilization is a fertilization where the fusion of gametes occur inside the body or inside the organism body. The fusion of male and female gamete, if it occurs inside the organism body, then it is internal. If the fusion of gametes occur outside the organism body, outside the organism body. What outside? Fusion of gametes. The fusion of gametes, if it occur inside the organism body, then it is internal. Internal means it is the fusion, the gamete, male and female gamete, it is fusing inside the organism body, then it is internal. If the fusion of gametes is occurring outside the organism body, then it is external fertilization. Internal and external. Next, there is another one word which are going to come across in the animal kingdom chapter, that is hermaphrodite. Or it is also called as bisexual. Usually this bisexual, it is used in plant, but here also the same meaning it is said, as well as monoecious. Monoecious. See, it is termed in different names, but the meaning is same. What is this? Hermaphrodite, bisexual, or monoecious. So one organism is there. If this organism has both male reproductive system as well as female reproductive system. So the single individual or one individual which contains both male reproductive organ as well as female reproductive organ. Even if you won't write system also, you can use the word organ, one and the same. Either it may be organ or organ system. Usually organ will take it. So if it contains both male and female reproductive organ are seen in one individual or in a same individual, then that type of organisms are called as hermaphrodite, or it is called as bisexual. Why bisexual? Means male is also reproductive part is there, female reproductive structure, female reproductive organ is also there. Monoecious means mono, that refers to single. The single organism possesses both the reproductive organs. So the best example is leech, earthworm, can be a lot of example. So hence they are called as hermaphrodite. Usually this bisexual, it is termed for plants or it is used in plant kingdom. So but the meaning is same. If both the reproductive structure are seen in a same individual or in one individual, then it is called as hermaphrodite, or it is called as bisexual, or it is called as monoecious. There is another one opposite to this is unisexual, or it is also called as dioecious. So opposite to this, unisexual means the one individual has only one reproductive system, either it may be male or it may be female. So each the single individual contains only one reproductive organ, only one reproductive organ, and the reproductive organ either it may be male or it may be female. Hence the unisexual or dioecious organism, they have, we can also call for them sexes are separate. Means sexes are separate means here the male is separate organism and the female is separate. Whereas in case of hermaphrodite and bisexual, the organism is one, but the same organism contains both the reproductive structures. One is male as well as another one is female. Whereas opposite to that is unisexual, we can term it as dioecious. Dioecious means two. There are two separate organisms. One is male and the another one is female. Hence, common term we can also use the word sexes are separate. Sexes are separate. Next, there is another one word what we are going to come across regular in the while explaining the phylum, that is development. So the development of the organism, it varies from one species to other species. There is a lot of variation can be seen in the developmental stages. So after the birth till it completes its lifespan, we can see several different stages. So now in the development here we are studying in two categories. One is direct, another one is indirect type of development. Direct and indirect type of development. So what is this direct development? So direct development is a type of development where the young ones are exactly similar to their parents or their mother or father. I mean to their parents antane helbodu. What is indirect? First we will explain with the indirect, then we'll come. We can understand. What is indirect type of development means? In the indirect type of development, we will see the larval stage. What we will see? We can see a larval stage. So larval stage is a stage which is a worm-like structure which is not similar to their parents. Now let us take the best example, butterfly. So the butterfly fly, it hatches its eggs. When the eggs are hatched, from the eggs there develops a larval stage. So the larva, whatever it is produced, it does not resembles to its parent. It will looks like a worm. But this larva, further it will undergo phenomena called as metamorphosis, or you can say it as ecdysis phenomena, or you can also say it as molting. So during that molting or metamorphosis phenomena, this larva, it further converts into adult. Understood? So we can see a larval stage, but this larval stage is not similar to its parent. It looks like worm. But later this larva further it will undergo metamorphosis and it further develops into adult. So that type is called as indirect. Whereas here in direct type, there is no larval stage. We can say no larval stage. Hence the offspring, whatever it is obtained, it is exactly similar to its parent. But here when the egg is hatched, it produces larva, but this larva is not similar to its parent. Later this larva further it converts into adult. So hence the development in some of the phylums it is indirect, whereas in some of the phylum it is direct type of a development. So direct and indirect are the two types of a development seen in different phylums. So in case of direct development, there is no larval stage. If you write it in simple word, this is enough. There is no larval stage. But in case of indirect, you have to remember there is a larval stage. Next, we'll come across with another two words, that is oviparous, viviparous. There is another